In other news, an unbending social order which, if it now refuses to bend, must now be broken. Pulling directly from Sir Lyndon's 1969 famous bend or break speech, the Prime Minister last evening upped the government standoff with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, publicly declaring that he's had enough, having given the GBPA extraordinary concessions.
I've had enough of the scare tactics.
That there laid the groundwork for Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis's serious tongue-lashing on the Grand Bahama Port Authority, the very entity that has had a long history with the city of Freeport. And at the centre of that relationship, the Hawksbill Creek Agreement that the Prime Minister says held apparent promise and peril early on.
There's just too much evidence that they care more about their infighting and shareholder lawsuits than our people. This is what happens when cities are treated like family heirlooms passed down without a thought as to whether those inheriting are willing to serve the interests of our communities over their profits. They have divested themselves of key assets, sold for profits. The very assets that would allow them to develop the economy of Freeport, as they are required to do by law. The road building company has been sold, the harbor company has been sold, the utility company, the power company, even the sanitation company.
What they did with all the money made, the Prime Minister couldn't say, countering that what they didn't do was invest in the island's climate-resilient infrastructure. As he sees it then, fees are being collected while obligations are uncapped. The GBPA is seriously pushing against reimbursing the government some $357 million, charging that it owes nothing.
Both parties are now proceeding along the mutually agreed upon path following the sunset of 30 days notification. But let me tell you something. Since March 26, none of the many investors we are working with across a range of projects here in Grand Bahama or on other islands have objected or retreated or raised any concerns or even raised an eyebrow over what is happening.
The Prime Minister, who was addressing Grand Bahama's Chamber of Commerce last evening, went on to assure that his government will never take steps that water down any of the rights, privileges, or benefits they enjoy.
I have an open door policy. I have an open mind about what comes next. The only thing I'm not open to is the status quo.
I'm Kim, an all-around busy person, but I'm also a foodie. Bahamian food is a delightful fusion of flavors and techniques passed down and over time has evolved into unique and delicious meals. It takes simple ingredients and it turns into something special. So if you're a foodie like me and don't like spending all day in the kitchen, but want great food, fast, simple, and tasty, then join me as we dish it up.